Good morning guys, it's Chris here at Z1 Off-Road, today showing you how to do an oil change on your Nissan Xterra. This one is fitted with the 4-litre V6 motor, so let's get started. Okay, so step one is we want to get the engine to a warm operating temperature, and then once we've done that, we're going to switch it off, open the hood and remove our oil cap as step one. Okay, so the next step, we want to remove our oil filter little peephole that we have here. This is just a 10mm. Remove the 2 bolts holding this in place. Now you could just leave this off to the side, but just for today's video, we are going to completely remove it for the best access. Now the reason it'd be best to remove this little port cover here is if there's any corrosion, you want to make sure you address that first before we start draining oil without being able to change the filter. So start here first, just in case you have any corrosion or it's stuck for any reason. Next step, we're going to remove the 14mm oil drain plug. We're going to need some sort of oil catcher apparatus, and very, very simple. We're just going to make sure we're on loose. Okay. And we're going to drain our oil. Remember, it is going to be warm because you warmed up that engine, so just be careful. Be sure to fetch your drain plug once you start draining. So while the oil is draining, we're going to remove the crush washer that's on the oil drain plug. You can do this in a few ways. You can use a little flat blade screwdriver or a pick to try and lift the bottom, or you can also use some sort of pliers, and then we're just going to screw this off counterclockwise. Then we're just going to give this a quick clean and wipe, and place our new washer. And we're ready to go. Now the oil has come to a complete drain, we're going to reinstall our oil drain plug just by hand. Quick wipe so we keep nice and clean, and then we're going to move on to the oil filter. So before we do our oil filter, you will notice that the factory has placed a small little spout for the residual oil to drain off into the drain pan. However, this can be a bit of a messy job as the spout from the factory just isn't quite long enough. So what you can do is use a bottle, which we've shown in previous episodes, or you could even just use a bit of cardboard from the supplied oil filter cardboard, and just use that to essentially guide the oil further out from the spout provided into your oil drain. So all I've done is just ripped some of the box apart, folded it up, and just tucked it under here, so when the oil initially drops off, it'll sort of roll and continue to drain. So this just keeps it a little bit cleaner, a lot less cleanup later, a lot less mess, and we're all about having no mess. So if it was done well last time, this should really be about hand tight, but that can be quite difficult to reach up there. In this case, I'm going to use a tool just to loosen this off. So we're just going to loosen this a little bit with a tool, and we should be able to do the rest by hand. I'm just going to allow that to drain down, and as you can see, you can see our cardboard is helping keep things a lot cleaner. Okay, so now that we've come down to a slow drip, we can now remove the oil filter. I've just shoved a rag in place just for any extra residual. So today we're using the Motul 5W30. This is a Z1 off-road oil change kit. just one of them, and this will do just fine on your Xterra. We're going to go ahead with our genuine oil filter and just fill it, pre-fill it so to speak, with some oil so that we have immediately filtered oil upon start. And once that's come to the top there and glugged up, we'll just grab a quick dab, and then we're just going to apply some oil on the O-ring for a very good seal. Okay, so now we're going to finesse our oil filter in place. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but once we're on there, you may drop a little bit of the new oil. That's fine. And we just spin this till it's hand tight. Doesn't need to be any tighter. You don't need to go on it with any tools. Just hand tight will do. And then we'll go and clean up any mess. All right, so once we've inspected that there's no more leaks or drips from the oil filter, we're going to install our cover with our 10mm bolts. Now the last step while we're underneath the car, we are now going to tighten our oil drain plug. Again, this just needs to be hand tight. Do not over tighten it, just a quick nip and you'll be good to go. Crush washer is crushing. And that's it. Look, done. Now we're done with everything underneath. We're going to bring the car down and we'll start working from the top. So continuing on our mess-free theme, head on over to z1offroad.com and pick yourself up one of these oil funnels. It fits most Nissans, pretty much all of them, and just makes life a whole lot easier. So we're just putting in 5.4 litres of our oil. So this is a 5 litre bottle, and then we'll just need a 0.4 to top up the rest. Once we've put the full 5 litres in, we just need pretty much just under half a bottle of our 1 litre. So now we're just going to remove the funnel, reinstall the oil cap, and start our engine. Just going to let this one run just for a few seconds, and then we'll shut it off and check the oil level. Pull the dipstick, wipe it off, and we can check our level. So this isn't the best dipstick in the world, but as we can see, the oil is right up to this circle here, the H for high, which is just about perfect. So we want to try and aim, get as close as possible to that little hole. And as we can see, we've sufficiently filled the engine with enough oil, maybe a small top up, but other than that, we're good to go. And that's how you change the oil on your Nissan Xterra. If you have any questions, feel free to give our friendly team a call or email, or head over to Z1 Offroad for all of your Xterra performance and OEM parts needs.